Welcome back to the video. Today we're writing a Python program that takes a non-negative input from the user. So non-negative, anything is bigger than 0, and it's going to display the average max of those numbers, the average and the max of those numbers, with two numbers after the decimal point. So if this is like a sample input, if they enter 14.25, 25, 0, and 5.75, we want to display the biggest number. In this case would be 25, but we want to display with two numbers after the decimal point. So that would be 25.00. And then you also want to find the average. The way you find the average, you add up all these numbers. That would just add up to 45 since I did the math already. And then you divide by however many numbers there are. In this case, it would be 4. So 45 divided by 4 would give us 11.25, which is what we're going to try to write a program to match this output to be sure it works as intended. So first we need to get a way to get user input, so we can define a variable called user input and set it equal to input. So there's that. And then we could define a list. We'll call it nums. We can set that equal to, we'll say float and then x, because we want to convert, it's going to be entered as strings. We want to convert everything into a float. And then we can say for x in user input dot split. So this is going to split everything after like a white space, and then it's going to be also be converted into a float and stored inside nums, which is just a list. And then we could say nums equals x for x in nums only if x is greater or equal to 0. So f is greater or equal to 0, we're going to store it inside nums again. So if they enter like, say they enter -3, that's not going to be stored into our list because it's not greater or equal to 0. So there's that. And then we can actually start doing our calculations. So let's let's do the max first, because max should be pretty easy. We could say max number, and then we'll use the built-in Python method or Python function, and then we can pass in our list. So max calculates as the max of our list that we just passed in, and that's stored in the max number. So that's pretty easy. Now we got to find the average. To do that, I'm going to use a if loop. We could say if nums. If that's the case, we could say, we'll call it average number, just to match the naming scheme. We can set that equal to another Python method called sum. We'll pass in our list. So we'll pass in nums. And then we'll divide that by the length, which is the length method in Python. It's another built-in method. And then we'll pass in our list again. There's that. And that pretty much executes if like the list is not empty. Else, if it is empty, we could just say average number equal to 0. That way we don't like get any errors. So let me explain this code a little better. So this only executes if the list isn't empty. This executes if the list is, and we could just set it equal to 0 to avoid any issues. So average number is equal to the sum, like the built-in function in Python. It adds up all the numbers. We want to add up all the numbers of our list, so that's why we pass in our list called nums. And then we're going to divide that by the length. I come from Java, so I say method, but it's a function in Python. But the length function, that returns however long our list is. So we divide the sum divided by the length, which is how you find an average. So that's pretty much that. We have the max, and then we have the average. Now we could just print everything out. We could say print f for format, and then we're going to print, I think it was max number first. Yeah, so we got to print the max number dot 2f. The reason we want dot 2f is because we want 2 decimal points after the number. Or 2 numbers after the decimal point. My fault. I got them mixed up. And then we could just copy and paste that. But instead of doing max number, we can just do average number. And then after that, it looks like our code should be working on. Let's just run it. So let's follow the example output. Say we do 14.25 space 25 0 and 5.75. We'll get 25 because 25 is the max and 11.25 is the average. So that seems to be working. If this helped you in any way, just leave a like and subscribe, please.